gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert's Sports Show and Robert's 10 WWE Hell in a Cell matches. With the WWE Hell in a Cell pay-per-view coming up shortly, this is a continuation of some of the Robert's 10s I've started. I did a Robert's 10 Undertaker matches, and then I did a Robert's 10 Dream matches. And this is a Robert's 10 Hell in a Cell matches leading up to the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. There's been a total of 30 Hell in a Cell matches in the history of WWE. Undertaker's been in 12 of them, which 6 of those are on my top 10 list, with 6 wins. Triple H has been in 9 of them with 6 wins. Randy Orton's been in 6. And Mrs. Foley's baby boy, Mick Foley's been in 4 with no wins. I kind of went through all the 30, kind of rewatched a little bit of some of them on the WWE Network. Just things I remember about them, storylines. A couple of these probably aren't some of the greatest ever, but at least to me, what it led to, or what it was what it came from storyline wise, kind of the end of a story, end of this, or it created a story. That's kind of what I was looking at, what I was entertained by. So, number 10 on my list was Hell in a Cell 2014, Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose. Just the whole storyline here with the Shield breaking up and Seth turning on the Shield members, Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, on that Monday Night Raw, going with the Authority, wanting Money in the Bank, and the feud he had with Dean Ambrose, to kind of the ending of that feud that also began another feud for Dean Ambrose. You had the reappearance of a Bray Wyatt, and just, yeah, Seth got the win, but just the match itself was good. I liked it. But just the ending of it, when you had Bray Wyatt appear, you had the smoke and the hologram of Sister Abigail. You had the lantern in the ring and then the hologram of Sister Abigail. Bray Wyatt running through the hologram of smoke and attacking Dean Ambrose. And Seth Rollins like, what the hell is going on here? And then him getting the pen. And just the whole story that led into that and where that went with Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt and whatnot really intrigued me, so that's why it made the list. Number 9 on my list, Hell in a Cell 2013. We had Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan with special guest Shawn Michaels. Just having the Randy Ortons of the world, the independent star Bryan Danielson and Daniel Bryan here on the biggest stage in WWE, in the ring with his boyhood idol Shawn Michaels, and just, even though Shawn was a referee, he kind of wasn't completely biased. And just the match itself, to me, was actually a pretty decent match between Randy and Daniel Bryan. Randy getting the victory and just what that ended up leading for Daniel Bryan later on becoming world champion. Next on my list, number 8, was Armageddon 2005. Undertaker versus Randy Orton. In 2005, Randy was having a feud with Taker. And it's kind of, typically when you feud with an Undertaker, everything ends either with a casket match, buried alive match, or Hell in a Cell. All kind of the matches the Undertaker's known for. Obviously, Taker being in almost half of the Hell in a Cells ever. One of his kind of creations. So, having Randy feuding with Taker and ending the feud in the Hell in a Cell. Taker getting the victory there, but still, Randy looking good. And number 7 is another feud of Undertaker's that kind of ended in the Hell in a Cell, which was Survivor Series 07. Undertaker and Batista. Just that whole summer-long feud with Dave and Undertaker, and just realizing that, Dave kind of came in his own as a single wrestler with that feud, being a world champion, beating the Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match. Next, another special referee match. This also made the Undertaker 10 It was on the Undertaker, Robert's 10 Undertaker matches. It was WrestleMania 28. It was the Undertaker versus Triple H with special guest Shawn Michaels. Having DX, kind of basically DX versus Taker there. And just everything that this match brought. The Shawn getting retired 2 years before this by the Undertaker. Shawn being the best friend of Triple H. And just everything that Tripp and Taker did in that match. It was a phenomenal match for them at that point in their career. It was a big match that kind of led, to WrestleMania 28. It was WrestleMania. Taker's undefeated at WrestleMania. Shawn couldn't beat him. Tripp couldn't beat him the year before. Can Tripp do it now? This was Tripp's 3rd match versus The Undertaker at WrestleMania. You know, The Undertaker, despite having Shawn in there, The Undertaker was able to get the victory and be 3-0 at WrestleMania versus Triple H. Next, number 5 was also on the Undertaker's 10 match, in Robert's 10 Undertaker matches. It was the SummerSlam 08, Undertaker versus the Edge. Just everything that Edge could do, the spears in the, into the side of the cage, spearing people through the Hell in the Cell, which he has done, and just having him feuding with Taker, WrestleMania, and then here at SummerSlam, it just kind of, even though he lost to Taker, you can get a rub off of Undertaker and not have to beat him. He's that iconic of a guy that he just pushes you farther and he makes you look as good as you are. Taker, at that time in his career, was one of the top superstars. Edge was up-and-coming future Hall of Famer for both of these guys. Next was Armageddon 2000. What really intrigued me on this one is having Rikishi in it. Wasn't a big Rikishi fan back in the day. Oh, is Rikishi dead? Kind of. Inside joke for the Pulse Boys. We had Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker versus Triple H versus Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Rikishi versus The Rock. Obviously, these 5 guys, 4 of them are guaranteed Hall of Famers. Rikishi, I wasn't a big Rikishi fan, Hall of Famer in his own right. Just really didn't care for him, but what he did at this match, coming off the top of the cell into the back of a truck, them driving the truck down, trying to drive into the cage. It was just, storyline-wise, what was going on in that era of 2000. It made sense. Having Kurt Angle get the victory here, retaining the world title here, was kind of also one of those things that made sense at the time. You look back, hey, that was a really good match. It was fantastic for that era. What you've seen in 2000, coming off 99, coming off, at the end of the Attitude Era, right before the WCW got sold to WWF, and what you have now in 2015, you will not see those kind of matches again, I don't believe. It is too G-rated, too watered down, too shit of a show to have these kind of matches and to build these kind of superstars today. Top 3. Number 3, Bad Blood 2004. Friend versus friend, icon versus icon, future Hall of Famer versus Hall of Famer, D-Generation X versus each other, best friends, Triple H versus Shawn Michaels. Just anytime you get a Shawn Michaels versus a Triple H or any guy from the 96 to 2004, that era, those legends, you get them in a ring, either tagging together like DX did a lot, or the Click did, or just versus each other. Shawn, coming back, this is a couple years after he came back from having back surgery. This might have been the same time he came back. I don't quite remember exactly spots and all that kind of stuff, but I do remember this match. I remember it was just a bloodbath. It was just people kicking each other's ass, just a street fight in a cage. Triple H getting a victory there. Number 2, the first ever Hell in the Cell, Bad Blood 97, Kiel Center, St. Louis, Missouri. Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, a 5-star Hell in the Cell match put on by 2 legends, 2 guys who, this was in 97, in 2010, 13 years later, could still put on a 4.5, 5-star match. These guys just took it to each other. They just put on a show with the Hell in the Cell for the first time ever, and showed people what a match could be with legends and a cage. They took the standard cage match and just expanded it, and people were in awe of the Cell and the carnage that these guys did. And then obviously at the end, the debut of the Demon Kane coming in with Paul Bearer and ripping the cell door off, and tombstoning the Undertaker. A guy who is the half-brother of the Undertaker, who's bigger than the Undertaker, who's badder than the Undertaker. He comes in and rips off a cage door. It's just like, you're just in, oh my god, what the fuck is this? I remember watching the show going, what the hell is this? You got little kids in the crowd going, just the Demon Kane debuting and just the match itself and Sean getting the victory there. Alright, I know my number one will probably be number one on most anybody's Hell in a Cell list. Probably moments-wise, spot-wise, the greatest Hell in a Cell match ever. King of the Ring 98. The Undertaker versus Mrs. Foley's baby boy, Mankind. Just saying the title of the match, there's not a wrestling fan out there that went, oh yeah, I remember that. You had spots that you never thought you would ever see, you will not see today. Guaranteed. You had Mankind going to Vince McMahon before the match saying, Vince, I want to get thrown off the top of the cell. Vince is like, no, no, yes, I want to do this. He's like, alright Mick, whatever you want to do. So as we all know, Undertaker, Mankind battling on top of the cell. Mankind gets thrown through the announce table. Just the most epic moment in wrestling, watching him come off that and land through the announce table. And just, him having a tooth go up through his freaking nose. And it's like, holy shit, what a spot. What a, you're taking this big cage and you're actually fighting on top of it. And oh my god, you fall, you could die. Is Mick Foley dead? I remember JR's commentary. Yeah, killed him or something. He's dead or whatever. I don't remember word for word what he said. And then they put him on a stretcher and they start wheeling him out. And you're sitting there watching the match going, really? That's it? And he gets off the stretcher and comes back and climbs up on the cell. You're like, okay. So they start brawling again. And the way these cells are made, I guess there's, obviously they're reinforced so people can be on top. They took some of the brackets off so it would bend down so it will look like you're actually damaging the cage. Well, I guess when they did this, it actually did damage the cage. And we all remember the chokeslam from Hell when Undertaker chokeslammed Mick Foley through the top of a Hell in a Cell. And Mick hit the ring. At the moment, watching it, as a young wrestling fan, going, what the fuck? Holy shit, what, huh? And if you look back on it, I don't know if they showed it on the network or not, I remember seeing it live, where people hit the ring like that. The trainer was in that ring immediately. So you're like, that wasn't planned. And it wasn't planned. That was a, oh fuck. That was one of those oh fuck moments in pro wrestling. Not meaning to go through the cage, went through the cage. Just a tremendous spot fest between The Undertaker and Mankind. Undertaker getting the victory there, leading to his 6 wins at Hell in a Cell. Here in 2015, we have 2 Hell in a Cell matches. We have Bray Wyatt versus Roman Reigns, and we have Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. Will one of these 2 matches be a classic, or will these 2 matches just be like another match in the Hell in a Cell? I actually think the Bray Wyatt Roman Reigns match will be better than the Taker Lesnar match. I just don't. I see why they're trying to end the Taker Lesnar thing, but then again, that's kind of like, okay, now what? Where does the Taker go from here? Is he done? Who's your wrestler at WrestleMania? Where does the Lesnar go from here? Is he back in the title picture? So, there's too many questions. I think Bray Wyatt, Roman Reigns, that feud's been going on since Money in the Bank. I think it ends that feud. I think, probably, which you'll see Hell in a Cell preview, I'll say my winners on these matches. But it looks to me like they're going to have a Roman Reigns kind of go on to maybe a U.S. title, maybe a lead up to a WrestleMania 32 title. They really want Roman Reigns as the next John Cena. You know what? Fine. You're going to force it down our throats. If you're going to do it right. You need to put a Roman Reigns in there. Have him beat a Bray Wyatt here. Have him win a U.S. title. Maybe from John Cena. Maybe have a Dolph beat Cena at Hell in a Cell or on a Monday night, and then have Dolph maybe turn heel, have a Roman Reigns beat him for the U.S. title, and then build him up. Roman Reigns builds up to Mania. Maybe wrestle somebody, because typically they want a triple threat match for the main event. Do like they did with Daniel Bryan, is have a Roman Reigns beat somebody early in the night for the U.S. title, and then go on to the main event and win the title, double title him like they did with Seth Rollins. Build him up, put him in there with people who can wrestle, So that way, from what I've seen, John Cena and Roman Reigns are just alike. You got a spectrum like this. You got a Roman Reigns, you got, people like this. Good guys, bad guys, good wrestlers, bad wrestlers. Roman Reigns is like right in here. But, just like John Cena, he can come up to here when he's wrestling somebody. You put a Roman Reigns in the ring with a Daniel Bryan, he steps his game up. You put a John Cena in the match with a Daniel Bryan and Seth Rollins, he steps his game up. You put Roman Reigns in the match with a Big Show, it's shit. Same with John Cena. Put Roman Reigns in there with people that can elevate him, get him your face of your company, and move on. So, but then we'll wrap up. A Roberts 10, Hell in a Cell. Will Roman Reigns be the next John Cena? Will Roman Reigns win a Hell in a Cell match in his first one ever? Who will win between Taker and Lesnar? Will these be classics? We'll find out next week. As always, thanks for watching Robert Sports Show, and have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channels.
If you close your eyes, your life, and make the truth revealed. Since you never lived, and scars never healed. In the darkness, light will take you to the other side. Find a way.